see a lot of my peers are reviewing this watch and calling it the Tissot PRX killer. I agree with that sentiment and want to further add that this watch very much reminds me of a Parmigiani Tonda. It's not a one-to-one copy, but it's a strong homage, and I personally love it. Also, you won't be paying $28,000 as this retails for $800, and what you get is a lot of watch for the money. The dial will make you fall in love, and the overall construction will make you realize that Benicianico is upping their game and are making some serious strides in the watch community. This watch is called the Arsenal. The design of this timepiece is inspired by the Arsenal of Venice, the ancient shipyard that for centuries represented the heart of technological innovation. This is the second Benicianico I review on the channel, and the company does a really good job with making great watches that look elegant, sporty, and don't break the bank, and they're proud of their Italian heritage. Therefore, if you're the type of collector that appreciates classic finishes with a bold, modern design, creating a perfect balance between tradition and innovation, I recommend this watch. The company is offering 3 dial colors, this black one, a blue dial version, and a purple version. I'll put some of the links in the description to videos of some of my YouTube friends that reviewed the other dial colors. For me, this was the safe choice. I'm not one to be very colorful, and I'm sure glad I made this choice. Before we talk in detail about the watch, let's cover the specs. The entire watch is constructed of 316L stainless steel. The case measures in at 40mm, from lug to lug is 44mm, but the dimensions from the bracelet ends is 56.9mm. The watch is super thin, it only measures in at 8.95mm. That's crazy, and yes, that's including the sapphire crystal that does, by the way, have air coating. The entire watch with the unsized bracelet weighs in at 137 grams, and it has a water resistance of 50 meters. Helping keep those seals tight is a screwed signed 6mm crown. Operating the crown is easy, no complaints there. The angular shaped case is finished really good, and yes, way better than a Tissot PRX. The case features satin finishing with polished chamfers that help reflect the light beautifully. The side profile of the watch is very elegant thanks to its very slim profile. And another highlight is that coin edge bezel. I typically don't like polished bezels because, well, they scratch easy, but this one is pretty slim and further adds to the look of the Tonda. If you have a keen eye, you would have noticed that on the sides of the case, there's little screws to remove the integrated bracelet. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I'll say it anyway. In the press images they sent me, all the models had metal bracelets and also rubber straps. So be on the lookout for that rubber strap release. I'm sure it'll probably be a little less expensive than this version. The integrated H-style bracelet, or what the company's calling Canova Concept, has the same finishing as the case. There's a mixture of satin finishing along with polishing going down the center and along the sides of the bracelet, and it's seriously finished really good for the price. I'm typically not a huge fan of butterfly style clasps, especially the ones where you have to put one side down and then push the other side down so it can fit perfect like a puzzle piece, because, well, I'm a bit clumsy and sometimes I end up closing the wrong side and scratching the bracelet. However, the action is great and the mechanism feels solid. The way the light plays with the case and the bracelet are great, but it doesn't compare to that dial. The dial for sure is the star of the show. The company is using a finishing that they are calling Vertigo Codes de Genève. The finishing is achieved through a meticulous process that involves applying delicate parallel waves using rotating brushes. In low light conditions, the dial looks black, but when the light hits it, those little lines come alive and you get all kinds of reflections. And it gives it this really cool 3D effect that you can stare at for hours. The small indices are somewhat legible and do look elegant, and the semi-skeletonized hands, although cool, are not really legible. I like the minimal writing on the dial, as the only actual writing can be found at the 6 o'clock, and it's the name of the company. Other than that, they just put their logo front and center. And I really appreciate the balance. Unlike the Tonda, this doesn't feature a date, and I actually think this looks a lot cleaner. What do you guys think? Unfortunately, the watch doesn't have any lume, so it's kinda hard to recommend this as an everyday piece. I would consider it more of a dress piece. When flipping the watch over, the Italian theme continues with the depiction of the most iconic symbols of the Arsenal of Venice, the towers. I like the artwork, but when you run your fingers through the engraving, it does feel a little sharp. If the company was able to fit a sapphire display case back and keep the slimness of the watch, I'll be all over that. Powering this watch is a movement that's become a classic in the microbrand space. The caliber being used is the Miyota 9029. This caliber is highly regarded by many as it's affordable, yet it offers the same level of performance as some of the more expensive Swiss counterparts. This caliber beats at 28,800 beats per hour, can be hacked and hand-wound, has an approximate power reserve of 42 hours, a stated accuracy of, minus 10 plus 30 seconds per day, and features 24 joules. The thickness of this caliber is only 3.9 millimeters, and the company utilized that to their advantage to make this piece very slim. Also, kudos to Venezianico for using a no-date movement. Ghost positions are a big no-no for me. On my 6 and 7/8 inch wrist, the watch wears great, and really make me feel like I'm wearing a much more expensive watch. Be honest, this watch looks like it costs thousands of dollars. When I was filming, I couldn't stop staring at the dial. You really need to see one of these in person to appreciate the craftsmanship that went into the watch. The case and bracelet feel well built, and the watch overall is very comfortable to wear. But I would love to get my hands on those rubber straps when they come out, as I'm sure they would change the look and feel of the watch tremendously. I highly recommend and encourage anyone to try and see this watch in person. Videos and pictures don't do it justice. The Tissot PRX may have been king for a long time, but this just took over the kingdom as a new affordable integrated watch to have. Let me know your thoughts on this piece. Are you picking one up? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Be safe out there and stay humble.